we want to recognize something. We want to recognize that working with strings is one of the oldest problems in computer science. And that's why the string library is as big as it is. The string library, it's actually probably as big or bigger than the math library because there's so much that you gotta do with strings over the course of history. I actually have a wonderful gift to give you here. String.format. Formatted strings are, again, one of the oldest gifts that exists in computer science. The big idea is that we will create a string that also has a little bit of weirdness inside of it. That is where we give instructions about particular formatting. So for us, this is where we send old pirate Nate down to the bottom of the sea to drag up that extra 0 when we need it, right? You ready to do that?
Arr, I see your percentage F will help me float back to the surface, too.
Before we dig in, I want to tell you, we are simply going to water ski across the top of this topic. This is a deep, deep, deep well of things, and you can spend a lot of time really learning lots and lots and lots of cool things about formatting strings. We are just gonna use it to fix our problem super fast and on the double.
FYI, don't ever try to water ski across the surface of a well. The two different bodies of water, one is not good for skiing at all. It's just not wide enough. Yar!
So here's what we're going to do. There is the percent operator, which is called a directive. Basically, we are telling Lua, get ready, we're gonna do something weird. We're gonna pass in a variable to you and you need to take care of it appropriately. And so look at the example. The example takes a variable named secret. It is assigned the number 7. And we are going to use string.format on the string of James Bond is %03D. And then we're going to pass in secret. So what Lua does is it prints out James, prints out Bond, prints out is, just easy peasy, right? It's a string, no problem. But then it gets to the percent and it goes, ooh, okay, I gotta do something interesting. And so it looks to see, okay, percent, all right. Oh, I see secret. I'm gonna pull secret in, and the D means I'm looking for a number, right, an integer. And so, ooh, yep, secret is an integer, so this is the one I am looking for. So percent, get ready to do something weird. D means pull in an integer. Oh, secret is the integer, pull it in. And then it says this. It says, secret, you are a number. You actually need to be a string. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do presto changeo and turn you into a string, right? We're going to convert you from being a number to being a string. And then I'm supposed to make you be at least 3 characters long. And the instructions here are that if you need extra characters, then I'm going to give you zeros to pad you out. And so here you go, come get in line, presto changeo, make you a string. You're only 1 character, so here are 2 zeros. Go concatenate yourself into the rest of the string, and it prints out as 007, exactly the way you want it. Hopefully by now, you can see that we will be able to make great use of this particular function. I'm going to comment on line 25, and we're going to recognize that this approach works exactly 90% of the time, but it doesn't work 100% of the time. So I'm actually going to comment out line 25 so that you can keep that in your code to see that it's a good idea, but not a great idea. And instead, we are going to use that temp level string is going to be string.format of setlvl colon, don't forget the colon, sometimes I forget the colon, set lvl colon, we need to use the directive %0 2D, and then the \r. And what are we going to pass in? We are going to pass in our levels bracket I. I know that went a little quick. Hit pause. You can catch up in just a second. And so let's hit save, and let's give this a shot. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That's going to work for us so beautifully. One last thing before we conclude this video is that we are going to need to make this a function, because this whole approach that we've seen now works. We really ought to functionize it for a couple different reasons. One, remember ducks on a pond, right? Our little event handler is getting awfully codey, and we're going to want to clean that up and make it a little more just function calls. Secondly, also remember we've got that fader. That fader is also going to need to be able to make a string and then ultimately send that string. So if we go ahead and make this a function now, the fader is going to be a piece of cake to program in a little bit. So let's make this a function. Function, func, make, level, command. And we are going to pass in a number as the argument. And because we opened it, we're going to close it. We also are going to do something a little bit different this time. One of the things that you were probably expecting is that we would do something like having a temp b string.format of, just like we did down there, set_lvl %02d \r. And then here, we're going to pass in arg number. But we're going to do something else with this. We are going to take our functions, we're going to bump it up another level. Nate, we're going to make this function give us a return.
Oh, you've been promising that for so long.
And now's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually a really good place to also throw in one more idea, which is we actually will also intentionally define this temp variable as a local variable. Now, do you need to do this often? Yes, no, maybe so. You guys will figure a lot of this out. More so, I want to show this to you here because I sort of want to point out that pretty much every time that you create a variable in Lua, it by default is going to be a global variable. I know that's a little strange, but that's Lua for you. If you want a local variable, you really need to declare it to be local. So we are going to make it local here. We're going to make our temp variable be local because really what we're doing is actually a very natural way to use functions. Yes, this is the last way that I'm showing you about functions, but this is actually sort of like the most fundamental way of using functions because I am giving it something, asking it to do something, and then give me something back. And I actually don't really care about that middle solution. I just want to give it something and it give me something back. So what am I going to do with this temp? We're going to return it. So I'm sticking in an argument. It's doing something with that argument, and then it's going to give me a corresponding output back. If we come back down here, then one last time, we will comment out temp level string, and instead we will say that temp level string is instead the return from func make level command. And what is the number that we're going to stick into it? Our levels bracket I. Let's hit save one more time. And let's hit go. And let's see that we are still getting the same string that we've been evolving our code to. By the way, if you kind of think that it's weird that we are writing code and then commenting it out, and writing code and then commenting it out, and then writing code and commenting it out, this is just called software development. This is pretty much exactly the way this goes. You write something that works, or something that works 90% of the time, and then you comment it out and you try something different and you progressively improve your code. And notice what we're doing. We are progressively improving our code. We have done step 1, which is to make the buttons interlock, and we've done step 2, which is to build our string. From here, we're ready for step 3. We need to figure out how to send this string to the lights. But to do that, we're going to have to learn how to open a TCP socket. But that is something we're going to do in the next episode.